This is Mwenda Saba TV.
There is a scenario being pushed by people around the circles of power. Wanasema hata isipotosha ya Ruto come 2017 tutaongeza. Is it possible to rig these elections?
First of all, that statement is actually a criminal offense. Because it offends the written law and the constitution. Because what you are advocating is violation of law. You see, when that is the amount to incitement, not in just the NCIC now, which should come after you, even the IMBC, if it had a spine, it should come after you when you speak a statement like that. This election cannot be stolen. But to prevent it from being stolen, the opposition and the people of Kenya must insist that the election finish at the constituency tallying center. You see, the constitution is very clear where the election for president is taking place in Kenya. Article 138, sub-article 2, it says that if more than one person is nominated to run for the office of the president, then election is held in each constituency. Okay? The minor care in judgment ruled that the closest you get to the voter is the polling station. The second closest place you get to the voter is where the result of the polling stations are being put together. And that is the constituency tallying center, not in Nairobi. If we go within Nairobi, if there's opposition and the people of Kenya allow Nairobi now to continue being what it has been since 2013, they will announce the Ruto president with the 200 votes. Because that's what they did in the last election. There's Marijani, Hussein Marijani, he said on his Citizen TV that the person who had access to the computer was the chairman of the IMBC, Subkati. If he is the one who had access, how do we know what the figures he announced? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
There was no transparency. There is no transparency in Imbomas. But at the constituency tallying center, everybody is there. Even you can go there.
Yes.
The observers are there. The agents are there. The public is there. It's very hard to steal this election. But the opposition must wake up and make sure that that happens and that there is cameras of all sorts during counting, not during polling, but during counting at the polling station, constituency tallying center. When that happens, trust me, it will be just about impossible to steal the election. And I don't think there's election in Kenya which has ever been stolen. No, we just had a president who didn't want to be president, so he allowed you to go away with it. Because how did, for example, Raila allow Subkati and the two commissioners to supervise this the 2020 election when the court had ruled that they were unable to run the 2017 election? You see, Raila knew if he lets them, he will lose, because that's what he looks for, losing. And losing for him means that he can own the demonstrations, get people killed, get paid for his campaign, and get into government without responsibility into it. This election cannot be stolen. Nobody will be able to steal the next election.
Do you have confidence in the way our IBC is constituted?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Then what gives you confidence?
In my
that the
opinion,
will be fair?
Because I'm saying that the country should insist that the election finish in the constituency, tallying center, period. If that happens, you have 290 returning officers, 290 constituencies. Manipulating all those is not an easy. That's my confidence. But otherwise, the way these fellows who are recruited, they are not. This IMBC is not Kenya IMBC. I think you can argue that it is William Ruto's IMBC. I mean, if you remember, the chairman is saying even he didn't apply when he was defending himself in parliament. You remember when he was being questioned by parliament? how did you get somebody who actually was in the Congo side or sent someone sent the application, I don't know, for him, because I did really get. How did you get that person in there? And then you remember the recruitment, was it competitive in any way? These guys, if you remember this, the Daily Nation put the commissioners there and they told us who was brought by which politician.
Yeah, yeah.
You remember that very clearly.
Yes, yes.
So how can you say that is a Kenya MBC? I mean, it's supposed to be MBC. The only independent in that thing is the eye. There's nothing else. So the opposition should not go to the election thinking that they have an impartial referee. No. They should go to the election prepared to protect the vote at the polling station and at the constituent tallying center. They can do whatever they want in Nairobi. Because those who come to Nairobi, his results already known. When the results are declared at the tallying center constituency, they are announced there. You are tracking in the constituencies as an individual. Every Kenyan becomes IBC. So by the time the close of the last constituency announces, you already know who has 51% plus 1. You already know who has 25% in 24 counties. You are waiting for them simply to confirm what you know. So the secrecy and the opacness at the national, so-called national tallying center, which should not exist, in my opinion, if you are going to obey the law, it will not matter. Because they will tell you what you already know. But
we've seen how the government has muscled these by-elections. The one in Mbere, the Mordikiri, and now they are trying to use the very muscles in Orkarau. Can't the government maybe...
They can't muscle general election like that without declaring open war. No. I mean, if they do what they did in Mbere in the next election, it won't be open war. And you know, Kenya is not Tanzania, where you can kill a lot of those boys and get away with it.
I was thinking, is the Sulu way?
The Sulu Asani, it won't happen here, my friend. This is also not Uganda, because I can see element of Uganda taking place here. You know, Uganda rules the country with his family. In a sense, unless these people wake up, I mean, the opposition to me is fairly asleep. They really need to wake up. You can't have the situation where the president, quote and quote, or the police in deployment. The police in deployment, you have seen it in Meru. Okay? In Meru, every Meru and Isiolo, every senior police officer is a Kalenjin. And I'm thinking, I can extrapolate that to the entire Mount Kenya region. That is wrong. That is a violation of Article 232. Kenya is a multi-ethnic society. So the police deployment need to reflect the face of Kenya. Okay? I don't hear these opposition fellows in demanding this. Because they can even go to court under Article 232. Because if they allow this thing to proceed to the election with our unsigned police in deployment, then you may actually have a problem here. You could easily have a problem. The problem, though, which I really want to answer this in government, an attempt to imagine you can do a Tanzania here and get away with it, is mistaken. It's a terrible miscalculation. This country, DNA, is one of resistance. I mean, you saw what the Kawera went through in Meru. She thought she can subjugate those MCA, but the moment they declared the war, they were not going to stop until they win. Okay? Even though the British were able to maneuver their way, but the Mau pushed them out. And that war was not going to end. Okay? So I wouldn't want Tanzania way here, because it won't work. It will just create so much trouble for all of us. But imagining Tanzania can work here, it's not possible. The other thing why you the problem do in Tanzania and go away with it is, you know, Tanzania generally is Bantus. There is very few other Kenyans there. And you know, Bantus are very peaceable people. they actually don't fight.
Yes.
Unless you force them, you paint them in a corner. Then when they react, now you are in trouble because they will plan. They are not going to fight just like that. Okay, they will plan.
Yes.
So in Tanzania, that kind of became one thing off. Here, it can't be one of thing off because they wanted to go Tanzania where they go underground. They now start planning.
Yes.
And when they start planning, it can be very dangerous because you realize these police, we mix with them at night and everywhere. When these people start executing an underground war, they are not safe. They will be grounded in the police station.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? You cannot manage a country without legitimacy. So my advice is this government should simply go for legitimacy.
Wow.
Not coercion, not force. Because this is a diverse society which DNA is resistant to British, to Moi, and even to Uhuru, because the way the Mount Kenya voted, they were just resisting Uhuru's imprisonment. They didn't like it. You understand?
Yes.
So when the DNA is resistant, you can't subjugate them by force.
Wow, thank you so much, Prof.
Yes.
At that point, Marisia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow, Prof Naituli. This is Mwenda Saba TV. Thank you for watching.
Na hii ni safari yetu, tuko pamoja, kila sauti, kila ndoto inang'ara kwenye kioo cha Mwenda Saba TV.
This is Mwenda Saba TV.